Pam Bondi, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Mike Johnson are absolutely embarrassing Donald Trump in court. Every time they speak, it becomes more apparent that their end is coming. We are 2 steps away from receiving the Epstein files, and they're panicking. Marjorie Taylor Greene even seems to be flip-flopping and trying to distance herself from MAGA, as Pam Bondi deals a devastating blow to her own administration in court with her deflective answers. Trump's threats are empty, and nobody's buying the tough act. This conspiracy to overthrow the government will not go without prosecution, and it seems as if their only strategy is keeping everyone afraid of them. Only nobody's afraid of them. I mean, take a look at Pam Bondi in her own words having a meltdown when the senator asked her, "Who gave you the order to take Trump's name out of the Epstein list?"
Going back to the Epstein files, according to another whistleblower who made a protected disclosure to my office, you pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July, when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memo stating, quote, "There's no incriminating client list." Why was the July 7th memo unsigned?
The July 7th memo came from the FBI and the Department of Justice. Director Patel answered those questions very clear. And, you know, Senator Durbin, I find it very interesting that you refused repeated Republican requests to release the Epstein flight logs in 2023 and 2024. You fought that. Did you take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations, who was a huge Epstein friend? Why did you fight for years? Why did you fight to not disclose the flight logs, Senator Durbin?
I can tell you I did not refuse. One of the senators here wished to produce those logs, and I asked her to put it in writing, and she never did.
Yeah, I think Senator Blackburn would quarrel with you on that.
Well, I will quarrel with you as to Reid, somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reid Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this, and you won't do it today, but eventually you will.
It is the same 3-step formula with all of MAGA: deny, defend, deflect. She didn't answer anything. As a matter of fact, she just made herself seem even more guilty by getting defensive with every single question asked towards her. I mean, this is the same woman who said the Epstein list is on my desk and then said there is no list. And to give the response to the senator questioning to you, "I'm not going to discuss any of that with you," is already a huge admission of guilt in and of itself. Then all of a sudden, the Epstein list does exist and they're redacting Trump's name out of it, but she's not going to talk about any of that with him as to who gave her the order to do that in the first place. So here is her response to her saying that there was no Epstein list after telling us it was on her desk.
In February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, "sitting on my desk right now for review," end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files, and I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, excuse me, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo.
These people have so much dirt on their hands, they should be ashamed. Funny how there's no Epstein client list, but they're all still trying to cover this up. There's still been no release, they're blocking votes, they're not swearing in the one person that will release the votes for the Epstein list, because they only need one more person to say, yes, we need to release them for them to be forced released to the public. They're redacting Trump's name out of it. Trump said himself out of his own words, we can't release the Epstein files because there's important rich people in there who can't have their names disparaged by being in it. Essentially protecting his friends that are in it as well. But of course, you know, Trump is at the forefront of it all because he was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. These people are on their last legs and they know that once these files get released, they're all going to prison. And you especially know somebody's panicking when they respond to you in anger. It's a defense mechanism. Anger is actually used to hide a lot of emotions like anxiety, fear, shame, guilt, and many more. And to sell your soul to defend an active PDF because you want a perceived position of power in America. But I mean, we can't be surprised because Project 2025 did say they would replace the qualified professionals with unqualified loyalists, because this is not about making America great again. This is about making the rich richer again. This is about consolidating their power and filling their pockets up with as much money as they can and reintroducing white supremacy back to America, because they know that at the core of MAGA, the ones that'll never change their minds no matter what PDF Trump does, they know that their biggest fans are Nazis. And it's so crazy because Nazis have done nothing but hold our country back from becoming great. Throughout the times of history, you cannot grow through hate, as we see with the current state of our economy and declining mental acuity of Donald Trump. And if that's not crazy enough, the FBI allegedly has photos of Trump from Epstein's safe. And in many of those photos, he was allegedly seen with half-naked women. Excuse me, girls. And this is Pam Bondi's response.
Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay.
It's the same three-step process: deny, defend, deflect. She literally just used the exact same argument with the other senator she said earlier in the video with this new senator. Notice how there wasn't a yes or a no, just some weird accusation and more anger to disguise the guilt and shame. We will take that as an admission of guilt. That response screamed, "How dare you ask me a question that is right on the money, and I'm very guilty." Let me redirect this real quick. This is the administration of no accountability, so all they know how to do is parrot each other's lies and defend each other. That's one of Trump's major game plan, is sticking together no matter what, which is ironic because if Democrats did that, they would be exposed in an instant. But when Trump does it, MAGA says he's telling it like it is. Yeah, you think that because Trump and his entire administration is just repeating the same thing over and over to you until you start believing what they have to say. It's propaganda 101. Say it enough times and people will start believing it. Only no normal person believes this, MAGA. It's just you. Because in the cult of MAGA, you were not allowed to have an individual thought or you are pushed out. And do you remember when Trump publicly threatened Pam Bondi on Truth Social for not getting Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Adam Schiff fired illegally? Well, she gets questioned about that by a senator, and this is her response.
Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam, using your name, not bringing criminal charges, are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history. And I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Thank you, Pam Bondi, for saying nothing, but we will take that as yet another admission of guilt. That is in fact an order to the Justice Department to illegally prosecute innocent people because Trump doesn't like them. Mind you, Adam Schiff tried to have Trump impeached. This is incredibly embarrassing to the Trump administration. To try to prosecute people just because Trump doesn't like them or for holding Trump accountable because they are the administration of no accountability is disgusting. You will all be held accountable. If not by the senator or judges, you will be held accountable by the people of America, because their decisions affect our lives every single day. And they try to use fear to control their political adversaries, and very soon they're going to try to use fear to control the people of America. I mean, they're already doing that with military exercises in Portland, Oregon, Chicago, Illinois, and the like. They're trying to brainwash our military as well. With the DUI hire Pete Hegseth telling them we serve at the pleasure of the president, you need to be more violent and kill people. And then Trump saying you guys are going to take part in the deployments to Chicago and other cities. So for Pam Bondi to sit here and say Trump is the most transparent president in the American history. Are you admitting to conspiracy to overthrow the government? It's not even conspiracy at this point. This is a direct order. You just said Trump has never said anything he hasn't meant. And not only are they weaponizing the DOJ against people they don't like, but they're also using the DOJ to defend people they do like. Such as when Tom Homan accepted a $50,000 bribe and was supposed to be prosecuted, but Trump told them to stop the investigation, and they did when they had video proof of him accepting the money from undercover FBI agents. And Pam Bondi was questioned about this in court. Let's see her response to that.
Senator, as Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review by the FBI, agents, and DOJ prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing.
And that was not my question. My question was, what became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI delivered, evidently in a paper bag, to Mr. Homan?
Senator, I'd look at your facts.
Are you saying that they did not deliver $50,000 in cash to Mr. Homan?
Senator, as recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review
different question.
by the FBI agents,
That's a
by
different
Department
question.
of Justice prosecutors. They found no evidence of wrongdoing.
That's a different question. What became of the $50,000? Did the FBI get it back?
Mr. Whitehouse, Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to talk to the FBI.
The report to you, can't you answer this question?
Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to discuss this with Director Patel.
Did Homan keep the $50,000?
As Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr.
Never mind.
Homan
I can
was
see I'm not going to get a straight
full
answer from you to a very simple
by
question.
the FBI agents and the DOJ.
Do
They
you
found
know-
no credible evidence of wrongdoing. You know, you're very concerned about money and people taking money, and
Do
you
you
rail
know-
against
wait a
dark
second,
money.
wait a second, wait a
Yet you
second,
work with dark
wait a
money
second.
groups all the time, Senator
Wait a
Whitehouse.
second. Did you know?
Three-step process with MAGA: deny, defend, deflect. We saw it coming from a mile away. Which, by the way, she's not denying any of this at all. She couldn't even answer the fact that there was video evidence of him receiving the money because they recorded it. And all it took was a $25,000 payment to Pam Bondi for her to deny all of these allegations. What have I been saying this entire time about the Trump administration only being in this for the money? They will defend straight-up PDS for money. They will defend criminals and sexual assaulters for money. They will let victims suffer and walk away with no justice for money. This is the most despicable administration we have ever had. And Pam Bondi should be ashamed of herself. How can you sit here and destroy the credibility of the justice system we have in America? So not only can we not trust Trump and his administration, we apparently can't trust the justice system. It's because of people like Pam Bondi that perpetuate this madness. These unqualified people that have taken office and destroyed the lives of millions of Americans. And we're supposed to sit here and act like this is all okay. It's not okay. It's never been okay. We're tired of this. We're tired of the lies. And right now, the biggest hope Americans have right now is you getting exposed for what you've done to us. Donald Trump and his constituents. They have disgraced this country. They have committed treason and traitorous actions to the people they're supposed to lead for money and control. But you cannot control us, and you will not control us. Because America will follow a leader, but they will not follow a dictator. And a leader does right by their citizens. They don't deploy the military on them. They don't defend PDFs. They don't defund programs that help the poorest people in America so that they can have a basic amount of living. I mean, minimum wage doesn't even allow you a basic concept of living. You need to have roommates just to get an apartment nowadays, and 2 jobs. And now health premiums are expected to triple in cost because Republicans have allowed the government to shut down because they want to defund Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act, which has 24 million Americans on it, and have them triple their costs they have to pay out of pocket. All disguised by this lie of illegal immigrants are getting health care when we've said it a million times that they are not allowed to receive health care. Not from Obamacare, not from the Affordable Care Act, not from Medicaid, not from any federally funded medical health care. So we can stop with the lies. They want to keep repeating the lies. We're going to keep repeating the truth. They want to keep setting up fires. We're going to keep putting out fires. Do you know why? It's because we're real American and we actually care about what happens to this country and the people inside of it. But the great thing about all of this is they are crashing and burning. I mean, take a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene separating herself yet again from MAGA. This is the second time we've seen her do it. The first time involved the Epstein files. She knows the end is coming for them.
And to allow Democrats to have some sort of moral high ground on this issue because they're the only ones talking about it, I think is a major failure from the Republican Party. And I'm not going to stand there and just keep talking the talking points when my own adult children can hardly afford health insurance premiums, when everyone in my district, it's the #1 issue that I hear about day in and day out, not just people on the ACA, but people that have private insurance as well. And I think it's something that we have to talk about. And I don't see why the government needs to be shut down. I really don't. I believe that if Republicans learn to govern and wield power, they can use the nuclear option in the Senate. They can open up the government. We can get back to work for the American people, and Republicans can solve this problem that is a very big problem that we can't ignore.
Well, congratulations, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Although we know you just have one foot in, one foot out because you see the end coming, you just had an independent thought in MAGA. Prepare to receive backlash, because that is the way of MAGA. If you do not go with the program and validate the lies, you will eventually be pushed out. The way I see this, she's already made her money, but she flip-flops so much we know she's not to be trusted. She's a liar too. She just sees the plane she's on crashing and burning and she's trying to jump out last second with the parachute. But the fact that she said anything at all is yet another win for America. This makes the second time Marjorie Taylor Greene has now actively campaigned against Donald Trump. I would expect a Truth Social post from Trump very soon trying to denounce Marjorie Taylor Greene's credibility. Because while she just said what we all know to be true in America, Donald Trump is still trying to use fear and threatening mass federal layoffs if the shutdown continues, as if the Democrats are supposed to be pressured into letting 24 million Americans lose their health care coverage. Let's see what Trump has to say.
How many permanent jobs are you talking about?
Well, I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial, and a lot of those jobs will never come back. But you're going to have a lot closer to a balanced budget, actually.
And he said he's firing permanent jobs, not temporary jobs. But hey, you have to remove the qualified professionals with unqualified loyalists. However, Trump, we see through all of it. Nobody is afraid of you. The only ones afraid of you is the people you're paying off. This means that 70% of America is ready to see you out of here. And I find it so insane how the same people whose rights we're fighting for are the recipients of the programs Trump is trying to get rid of. And they're all for whatever Trump says. But the only 30% of American pollsters believe that the government shutdown is from the Democrats, meaning it is over for you, Trump. You will be prosecuted. As we discussed in the last video, once a president becomes impeached, they lose their immunity and they can now be prosecuted for everything they did before, during, and after their presidency. So we should be seeing a lot of prosecutions taking place once we dismantle this government overthrow, because this is America and we have no kings and we do what's right in the face of evil. We will not allow this to continue, and we will not allow the lies and deceit to plague our country any longer. We want our beautiful communities back, Trump, but you're destroying those communities. Instead, you run military exercises in other cities and tell ICE to arrest any brown people they see on the streets. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Mike Johnson gets publicly asked, why will you not swear in Adelita Grijalva? She is the final vote needed to release the Epstein files, and she vowed that she would vote yes. It has now been over 2 weeks since he has refused to swear her in. However, he swore Republicans in a day after. Let's see how Mike Johnson responds to this.
Earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during a pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during a pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty. Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it.
These people are sweating bullets. It's all coming to an end. It's crashing and burning so much sooner than we expected. Goodbye, Mike Johnson. Bear in mind that they also sent Republicans all on vacation, all on extended vacation. They're trying to hold out as long as they can. He then goes on to say he doesn't plan on swearing her in until they agree to end the government shutdown, which is the government shutdown they caused. But they are losing faith from Americans the longer this shutdown goes on, because everybody knows exactly why this is going on. These people are done for. It hasn't even been a year. It hasn't even been a full 9 months. And they've destroyed the country and turned everybody against them. And there's no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme, because they will see justice. So congratulations to Americans for fighting for your country. We are almost at the finish line. And every single time they lie, we will be here to tell the truth. However many times that needs to happen. And lastly, Trump, release the Epstein files. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure to have a great day today. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.